Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike back at you one more again, live on a Thursday night. What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the show, man. Appreciate everybody sliding through tonight, man. It's going to be a real dope episode. But before we get into the episode, make sure y'all show my lovely wife Takara some love in the comments. You know how we do, man. She always holding us down, man. Definitely show us some love in the comments and don't stop there. Be sure to show the channel some love as well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and Hulk smash that notification bell so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a video here on the channel, man. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. Let's take care of some housekeeping stuff, man, before we get into it. So make sure you follow us and find us everywhere. You can follow us. Check us out on Morph Market. Check us out on Instagram, 2 pages, Herp Collectors Network. Make sure to check out both of them. Check us out on Facebook as well, and definitely check us out on your favorite audio podcast platform. Clutch Conversations and all shows on the Herp Collectors Network can be found on major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, all that good stuff. So definitely check us out there. We appreciate the love and we appreciate the support. Speaking of support, man, make sure you're supporting both these organizations, USARK and USARK Florida. The link for both organizations can be found in the description of the video. Definitely get your membership. If you don't have a membership, drop a donation, whatever you can do to show support for both these organizations, man. Even if it's nothing more than spreading the word, spread the word, man. Make sure everybody knows about both these organizations and how they can help and how these organizations are helping us. Definitely check that out. Link in the description. Also link in the description for the Double Clutch Patreon men, the homie Matt from Ebony and Ivory Reptiles. Big time family vibe, man. We got some stuff coming up, so definitely stay tuned for that. Check that out, man, and tap in with us, man. Big fun, big fun, big fun. And then also make sure you tapping in with Phenome Precision Genetics. Yeah, the homie Charlie from ShedTesting.com. Linked up, got a whole gang of folks, man, doing big things in this genetic testing space. Lots of stuff to come. Definitely start paying attention to all that stuff and all the stuff that's going to coming out. For right now, go to www.shedtesting.com to continue submitting your sheds to that team and check it out. We're going to play the sponsor video here and be right back. Join Canova's Patreon today and get access to hundreds of hours of exclusive educational content designed to help you run a successful ball python business. Get insider information on the latest genetics, hot new combos, and market trends, learning directly from the world's leading ball python designer. With 5 benefits packed tiers, you may be asking yourself, which tier do I join, Bit Mike? Well, if you're on the fence, I'd recommend the student tier. When I first joined the Patreon almost 4 years ago, this is the tier that I started on, and it's only gotten better since. So don't delay. Join the Canova Patreon today.
Art comes in many forms. And on Miss Angels, it comes to life.
In life, success doesn't come to you. You go to it. In this game, forward thinking is the key to innovation and staying relevant. Plan your work and work your plan. Lose yourself in the art. Lose yourself with wetter morphs. Big shout out to the sponsors, man. Appreciate the support. The homie Justin from Armless Angels Ball Pythons, he just dropped a picture of the chat in the chat of that Hypo Pompeii. I know it's head G Stripe, but it might be head Jeanette. It might be head DG as well, man. If you haven't seen that snake, definitely check it out, man. It's super dope. He got it posted on his IG. He got it posted on his Facebook. Just dropped us a picture of an updated one since it last shared, man. That thing just getting better and better and better, man. The homie is working with some real heat. And of course, the homie Onk from What a Morph Constrictors, he working with some real heat. And I heard that dude, Justin Kabilka, working with some heat too. I don't know. Y'all tell me, man. Let's see who we got in the chat tonight. We got the homie Roll. What's good? Herp Collectors Network representative. Appreciate you coming out. Double Clutch Patreon representative as well. What's good? What's good? Marcel was good. Homie Pharaoh's Forbidden was good. The homie Slate Roll was good. Was good, homie. Hey, hit me up, dog. Hit me up. Appreciate you coming out, homie. Let's see. We got Dwight, the Pie Man in the building. Was good. Was good. Was good. See who else we got. The homie Ash, man. Mr. Malice himself, the granite of granites. What's good, homie? Appreciate you sliding through. See who we got. I can't even read. What is it? The Nameless Collector. Okay. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you coming out. JJ, what's good? What's good? Appreciate you coming out. Autumn Leave Exotics in the building. Appreciate you coming out, man. We got all kinds of people in the chat. And of course, we got Daniel Berry Sports Highlights in the building. What's good? What's good, homie? We're going to stop it right there. We're going to kick the intro. Then we'll be right back with the show.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter. I got the fuse. You make a fire. I'll add the fuel. Follow my lady. Just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the key up.
DJ, what's up, man? What's up? How you doing?
How you doing, Mike? Good in yourself, man.
Doing pretty good, man. Appreciate you coming on tonight. I know it's probably like 3-something in the morning there, something around there?
Yeah, just 3:15, so early start to the day,
eh? What time do you normally get started?
I normally wake up between like 6 and 7, so I normally start working like 8 o'clock. So might just go back to bed for a few hours and then stand up and feed some snakes.
Nice, man. So how things been going? I was looking back at the calendar, and it's been like 2 years since you've been on the show. Time flies, man. So how things been going?
Yeah, man, things has been good. Snakes has been doing well. We're just basically, so our seasons are basically the opposite to European and the American season. So we're basically now in the heat of our hatching season. So the next few months we should actually hatch out quite a few clutches. So so far so good. We've had some nice animals come out, and hopefully plenty more to come in the next few months, eh?
That's what's up. That's actually what I wanted to get into tonight is kind of talk about what you got going on project wise and clutch wise. I know behind the stage you said you had like 70 clutches in the incubator.
Yeah, it's roughly I think it's 69 clutches currently, and then I think we'll probably have another 20 odd to close out the season. So I think we'll end up for like 90 for the whole year, eh?
90 for the whole year. So what does that put you at as far as like comparison to previous years? Is that high, low, right about the same?
Yeah, it's more or less the same, maybe a little bit less, hey, around 15 clutches less than compared to the last 2 seasons. So, which is actually better, in my opinion. It's in hindsight, it's much better to, how can you say, yeah, over the years, I'd like to, I wouldn't say cut down, but I would like to just try and breed, better and better animals every year. So, the main goal is to cut down a bit more in terms of the clutches and try and up the quality in a sense.
Okay. So what are you like what's your strategy for cutting down? Is it just strictly breeding less, or are there specific projects that you're targeting in terms of the cuts you're making?
No, and so that's a bit of a difficult one because there's so many great projects. I think it's more just to be from the start, especially when choosing holdbacks. I need to be more specific in what I want to keep back, and something which I actually realized in this last few weeks is, I tend, or I and I think a few other breeders as well, you like we tend to keep back animals which we don't necessarily need, just because you get also attached to the animal so much. So I think it's just more in a sense of being, how can I say, more precise and streamlined, throughout the year. Some stuff, if you already have something which is growing out for the season, you can maybe move it on and keep the better animal, or replace one visual animal with something which is a double visual, something like that.
Yeah, I think of a lot of us struggle with that. I know I do. Just kind of holding back more than I really need to hold back, especially like with females and stuff. And like I kind of convince myself in my head, hey, this girl, she's not as good as like maybe like her clutch mate, but she almost as good and she got some
Yeah.
similar genetics. The females don't always like to go all the time. So maybe now we got more opportunities to hit some, albeit lesser odds. You still got at least an opportunity to maybe hit something or something close, and so like I kind of justify it in my head that way and then end up with too many holdbacks.
Yeah, I think it's like you say, it's like it's not a common mistake, but I think we tend to, at the end of the day, we all, how can you say, snake lovers. So we tend to keep back things which is not completely necessary, and I think we always try and justify it. But I think if you look back sometimes at your projects and you see where you're at, you can, how can you say, redefine some of your pairings and some of the, how can you say, the animals you have in your collection. So from my end, it's like. I'm just trying to be more precise going forward. It's not like I'm saying, we were keeping back way too many animals, but I'll say, like you just said, sometimes you keep back something and you keep back a alternative or a double of a certain gene where it's not necessary.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Big time person that do that. Uh, what project would you say you're strongest in? Like scrolling down your page, you're working a whole bunch of projects. So what project would you say you're strongest in?
Yeah, so that's a quite a difficult one. I must say, like in terms of, so the three genes which is mostly in my collection now, I'd say is um, Desert Ghost, Clown, and I'd say probably Ultramore. In the past, it always been Desert Ghost, Clown, and Bide. But over the years, I've kept a little bit less Bides over the last, few years. So, and then I'd say Puzzle was also quite, how can you say, quite heavy in my collection. So I'd say those four genes in terms of the main recessives is in my collection quite broad, and then of course a few odds and ends of like the sunsets and the hyper and stuff like that. But I'd say the main project is most probably like Desert Ghost is the most how can you say, common in the collection as well.
Okay. Yeah, we can spin the block and talk about Desert Ghost here in a minute. But you mentioned Ultramel as well. So talk about like the route you're going with your Ultramel projects and kind of like what all you working into that you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, man. So, of course, you guys know about the Sunset Ultramore. So those are, something which I'm really excited about for this up and coming season. I should have, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I should have my first Sunset Ultramores hatching out. So that's a project which I'm very, very excited about. We'll definitely explore the Ultramore puzzle project a bit more in the this next breeding season. Hopefully, we should have some double visuals in that, and yeah, just trying to think a bit outside the box in terms of the Ultramore project and in general. So, I made some interesting triple heads, which is Ultramore Sunset Paint, which I think in the long run, it's going to be either it's going to be a hit or miss project. Either it's going to work out great, or it's maybe not going to work out. But in
Ultramel
terms of the
Sunset what?
Ultramore Sunset Paint,
Oh, paint.
um,
Okay.
yeah, so they triple heads. So it is a bit of a long shot and a pairing that you don't know exactly how it's going to prove out. Um, but yeah, let's see. And yeah, just in general, trying to bring out more contrast in the Ultramore project. So I'm leaning more to the darker route than the lighter route currently.
Yeah, that's the route that I'm going with it as well. It's like leaning towards the darker stuff. I think it's a lot of things you can do and like some really nice combos you can make with that darker stuff. Kind of on that Ultramel palette to get
Yeah.
some nice contrast and some real nice coloration in there. So yeah, I definitely think that's a smart route to take it. Are you
Yeah.
working any other recessives in Ultramel?
Just thinking offhand now. Yeah, so Ultram was quite broad as well, like I said, in my collection. So most of the recessives that I'm currently working with somewhere, is going to intertwine again with Ultramore. So like dry stripe, Ultramores, here and there I'm doing also a few Exantic Ultramore projects, which I think which is actually quite a unique route to take. And yeah, so Ultramore, I must say, is quite a large base in some of my projects currently.
Do you have hypo in it?
Yeah, I do. I do. So the crazy story about the Ultramore hypo stuff. So back in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, I bought a female Mojave Ultramore from Justin, and she's actually the foundation animal for most of my Ultramore stock. Or I won't say foundation, but she started, my original double head Ultramore clowns. And after breeding 2 or 3 seasons with her offspring, I realized, listen, there's hypo floating around. So that was actually quite a cool way. And then this past season, in 2020, what was it? Actually, 2024, the 2024 season, I was able to prove out her to be 100% het hypo. So that was quite cool to see where everything came in. So yeah, Ultramore hypo stuff is definitely floating around in the collection. It's not a main focus. I'm more focused on like Ultramore, like I said, with the darker contrast genes and other different recessives, but it's definitely floating around in my Ultramore stuff as well.
What Ultramel hypo stuff did you hit? Did you hit the double or did you hit a triple working it with the clown stuff?
Yeah, so I've actually made, I think it was 2023, if I'm correct. So it's actually 3 years already ago. I made a Super OD Leopard Mojave Ultramore Hypo Clown. And then I've got a Pastel Leopard Ultramore Hypo Clown male also in the collection.
So Super OD, Ultramel, Hypo, and Clown. So basically a quad.
Yeah, so basically,
if you think about the
yeah,
super.
yeah, basically, yeah. So triple recessive plus I think there were 3 incomplete co-dominant mutations, and if you include a super, it will be basically 4.
Yeah, that's dope. That's a powerful animal.
Yeah, so that was a really beautiful snake. She actually went to South Korea that year. So unfortunately, I don't have her anymore, but I've got her siblings. So this year I've got OD Mojave, Ultramore Clown, het hypo female, which also is gravid, and she was bred to the Sunset Ultramore. And yeah, man, I'm quite excited about the Ultramore Clown projects this up and coming season. Hopefully, we can have some like Confusion, Black Pastel, Red Stripe, Ultramore Clowns hatching hopefully in like March. So some exciting times, especially for the Ultramore Clown project this up and coming season.
Hell yeah. So you mentioned selling some stuff to Korea. I know you'd been taking like some trips like to go to like Korea and or maybe not Korea. I saw Thailand for sure. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate last year. So the first time I traveled was in 2024. I went to Thailand and then I went to Tinley Park there in the States. Really great experience. it's very different to to how we keep and how we do things, across the world. Um, so I must say the Asian countries are really just so great to travel. The people are really so friendly and so open. So yeah, it's just great. Man, I was lucky enough this last year when I was so it was a bit of a hectic trip. I did Thailand, Hong Kong, and Japan in one trip.
Oh wow.
So it was I think honestly, I underestimated the trip a bit because I did 3 days in Thailand, 2 days in Hong Kong, and 4 days in Japan. And it was just heavy, heavy traveling. But the reason for doing it like specifically like that is just because it's so far to travel for myself in any case. So it just made sense. To rather do a shorter trip from the different countries and do it one shot. But yeah, man, it was really amazing. Especially I enjoyed going to Hong Kong just because myself and the breeder who I work with that side has been doing business for around 8 years. This year it's the eighth year, and we had never had a conversation in real life or even a phone call. So it was really cool to meet him. And another great thing is, animals that I've seen him since 2018, I was able to see again. So that was a really great thing. And yeah, like I said, man, it's just great to explore these countries and see also how different it is to how we doing stuff and how they doing stuff, and how their market presence is and how it differs from the US and our market.
How speak to some of that, like how their market presence is and kind of like how things are going over there and like some similarities and differences that you notice with like your area and even like the US, Europe, stuff like that.
So I think, especially, like in those certain countries, they're very like loyal to a certain breeder or a certain supplier, whether it's in Thailand, Hong Kong, or Japan, or whatever the
I've heard
country
that.
is.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard.
which I really like as well in a sense because it builds long term relationships and trust with the certain guys. Um, and I just think the overall how they do things is much different. Like for instance, in Thailand they use a lot of ambient heating, or they don't use any heating in a sense. Belly heat, just because the humidity and the temperature is so high. And it's actually crazy to see how far, especially Thailand is. In terms of certain projects. I think I saw some of the best clown combos to date actually in Thailand, just because they've got completely different projects compared to what I'm doing, and also what I've seen in Europe and in the USA.
What was something that stood out in their clown projects?
They had a few like nice carbon clown combos, like spot nose, hurricane, carbon clown stuff.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, those were really really cool, and even some like pixel clown combos, and yeah, just like really broad different projects, which was really cool to see as well.
Nice. Yeah. I would, if you got a picture of that, I would definitely like to see that. That's pretty dope. That sounds dope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll send you some pics after the show. I must say it was quite cool.
So relative, like I don't know, maybe it's hard for you to kind of gauge this. So definitely feel free to say you don't know, but like kind of like relative to like the US and Europe and South Africa, like do you feel like they have like a pretty like large reptile community or ball python community, or is it still kind of like in the budding stage in the places that you went?
I think yeah. So I think it's quite broad and quite large. I think Hong Kong is a bit of a smaller community compared to the other two countries. Um, but yeah, definitely in Thailand and Japan, there's quite a large, I can say market presence in terms of certain breeders. Um, I wouldn't say it's anything near to the European or the USA side, but I think it's quite, how can you say, quite far developed in a sense where there's quite a few larger breeders. A few guys in Thailand are producing close to 300 clutches as well. They also
Oh
um,
wow.
do, yeah, they're also doing some big numbers, and they're also on the verge of actually starting to export, which is great for those countries as well, because then they get the exposure that they actually need as well. Because even in us here in South Africa, we don't always have the luxury of, how can you say, having such a big market in a sense. So we rely on a really small pool of people here, or breeders in South Africa, to sell the animals. But I think it's cool to see to actually export the animals as well, because and get some new blood and more new genetics in, which is a great thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm the kind of like opposite end of that spectrum. I remember last time you was on the show, you was talking about like the process of importing animals into South Africa, and how extensive that process was, and uh, it took a lot of time too, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, for instance, I'm still busy with one import that I started at the end of 2020, 2024. Um, so I still don't have the animals. Unfortunately, the timing was just not right. The shipment should have been here in December of 2025, but unfortunately, the weather just didn't permit. It was just too cold to ship out, and the risk was just too large. So the shipment, most probably I'll have sometime March or April, and then it will be almost 20 months later since I bought the original animals. So it's
Wow,
quite a long time.
wow, yeah, that's a long time, very long time. So how long did you say you were on tour in the Asian countries?
Around 10 days, eh? With traveling, I think it was around 12 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
because I mean,
how
yes,
many people you
sorry.
got on your how many people you got on your team? Like who's watching the animals and stuff while you're out?
Yeah, so I've got one employee with the snakes. He is really fantastic. Then I've got one employee for the rodents, and somebody who's part time helping me with like videos and a bit of the social media stuff, and then myself. So we're a team of four. So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult task if somebody leaves for either holiday or for a vacation or some break. But yeah, we make it work. I don't want also a huge team of people. I prefer keeping a smaller team, and we just work closely with each other.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I know for me, just anytime I want to get away, it's always like a logist. You gotta plan the logistics of it to make sure everything in order, right? Because the animals don't stop animaling.
No, no. I mean, like even this past time over Christmas and New Year. I mean, my one employee took off the one who works with the snakes, and yo, man, that's where I actually realized as well. Like like I said to you earlier, there's certain projects or certain animals which I'm keeping back just for the sake of keeping. I mean, some of them I haven't bred in 2 or 3 years, but you you just think it's a cool animal, or she's a very big female, and we tend to, how can you say, it's there's nothing wrong with it, but we tend to keep stuff for no reason, so that's where I also realized, I need to be more specific. And like you say, the animals, it never stops. If you want to have Christmas, it doesn't work like that. They first need to have their attention, and then you can do your stuff, which is not a bad thing as well.
Yeah, especially the rodents. Like you got a
Yeah,
little bit more leeway with the snakes, but the rodents, man, you got to stay on top of that.
yeah. The rodents are, it's a different story as well. So I breed my own rodents. It's just much better, just because I know what's going into the animals as well.
Absolutely.
And also to have that accessibility, to get different sizes, because we start off our hatchlings on mice or ASF fuzzies for the first I'll say 3 meals, and we start gradually changing them over to rodents. And it's just nice to have the different, sizes to your, how can you say, yeah, just to your capabilities, or to, what you can feed as well.
Yeah, it's super convenient to have like your own supply, and you can kind of go through there, like you said, man, pick out exactly what size you need. You can feed when you want to. It's super convenient to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's a big task. It's like when I fed, so I actually changed my feeding structure a bit. So after a year of age of the hatchlings, or in general of the snakes, I actually stopped feeding them once a week. So then I started doing it every second week. And it's something I changed in the last 2 years. And, since I've been doing that, it's changed, how can you say, everything in terms of the condition of my animals. And also, I get less animals that go actually off feed. So it's very interesting, because we also feed quite a lot of frozen food. So what I've seen in the past is, you take out, let's say, 100 rodents, and let's say, for instance, only 80 snakes will eat. Then you're left with 20 defrosted rodents that you can't do anything with. So now we feed our adults, every second week, and I must say the conditions of my snakes is still the same. It's remained the same, or actually improved. I think this year, we've had, like I said, 69 clutches, and I think we're on less than 12 slugs, or infertile eggs, which in my opinion is a really great success ratio. And yeah, I just see in general my males don't go off feed in breeding season, and the females' condition just look better.
Have you seen like any kind of changes or noticeable changes in terms of the number from a ratio perspective or percentage perspective? Same
So,
difference in terms of how many girls go.
no, I just think what I've seen is it seems like my clutches are actually like larger,
Yeah.
and another thing is just in general, I think the conditions of the animals are just much better. I think indirectly the amount of rodents we still feed, if you compare, let's say, over a 3 week or 4 week time period, and so let's say in the past we used to do like a 2 week, 1 week off system, and then again 2 weeks. So basically, in a monthly period or a 4 week cycle, we'll feed them 3 times. So now we're just doing it basically twice, but we still feed more or less the same amount of rodents. So what this means is when the females or the snakes do eat, sometimes they prefer to have a double or even maybe a third one sometimes. So indirectly, I think it across the board, it's much better in terms of of my animals, and also giving them the right time also to digest their food, and also not give them so much strain the whole time to be digesting, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the whole digestion process is like a pretty like intense process that their body goes through whenever they have
100%.
to digest the rodent. I remember a few years back, like when I was first getting in, Billy from Mutation Creation, he was talking about doing something similar. He was basically on every other week cycle with feeding and stuff, and he basically kind of stumbled into that cycle because of a shortage on rodents, and so like he had to do what he had to do, and so
Yeah.
he started feeding every other week and noticed some of those same things that you was talking about.
I mean, yeah, even if I look now, because if you see, I mean, even with the hatchling, they grow really fast. If you see again in a month's time, they can, I wouldn't say pick up double the weight they were, but they can grow really quick. So what I've seen is still, I still have some females which is up to size within 2 years, and some females which are a bit slower growers. That's, I think that's always going to be the case. But I think going forward, this is definitely what I'm a strategy or my method that I'm going to adopt. Is trying to feed every bi-weekly in a sense, and not on a weekly basis, especially with after the animals are a year old, or between 1 and 2 years, we'll probably start doing this method.
Selfishly, it helps with cleaning too.
Yeah, but the snakes are always I saw this over this December time. You clean one day and you think everything is fine. The next day you go and open the tubs. It's
Oh
worse than the day before. So the snakes know best as always.
yeah. Yeah, you definitely see that a lot, man. You clean up and then boom, next day it's like, dang. It's like they like to, I guess it's you picking them up and stuff like that, and like just kind of like a little massage to them and get them going.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But man, it seems like they do that a lot.
Yeah, so, and I mean, I just keep my adult females, my breeder females, I keep on cocoa husk, and the rest of the collection is all on paper, you know. So the cocoa husk is still okay, you know, you can do here and there, you can do spot cleaning. But the paper is like a constant thing every single day, you know, especially with the hatchlings because the tubs are a bit smaller, you know, so you just want to make sure they've, you know, got a good clean surface and clean base to work with as well, you know. So the paper is a different story, you know, that's a everyday basis.
Why do you do it differently for your females?
So my breeding success on cocoa husk is just better, and also just because I believe in breeding season you don't disturb the females. You try and leave them as is. So in general, my females just do much better on cocoa husk. My feeding response is much better. And like I said, for breeding, and then males and the rest of the collection I like keeping on paper just because for my adult males, I've seen that they don't go so easily off food. And if they do go off food, we've got a different alternative to switch them over to, for instance, the cocoa husk. And then the hatchlings and the grow outs and stuff, I like keeping on paper just because it makes it easier for the next breeder, or let's say if someone buys an animal from me, to choose whatever they want to use. If they want to use cocoa husk, you know, sawdust or paper or newspaper or whatever, they've got the option to do it. But if you start, what I've just found is sometimes if you have everything on cocoa husk, especially if you're starting from youngsters, it's really difficult for the next guy if he wants to use paper or something else for them to start feeding, you know. So if I leave them on paper, it just gives the next guy the opportunity to do whatever he wants. You know, you can put them on cocoa husk or leave them on paper, and the feeding response will remain the same.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, I want to take a real quick sponsor break. We'll be right back here in a second.
No worries.
Peace and love, family. We invite you into the heart of our serenity, Ancestral Royal Pythons. At Ancestral Royal Pythons, we're not just breeders, we're nurturers of love and growth. Each of our high-end ball pythons is a tribute to the grandeur of the natural world and our dedication to quality. Reach out today and bring one of our creations into your home. This is Ancestral Royal Pythons. Your journey begins here.
Passion. Some are born with it, others chase it their whole lives. At MCBR, animals aren't just a business, they are a legacy. Driven by obsession, defined by quality. At MCBR, the passion drives us, the quality defines us. Our motto is simple: live your dream. For years, he worked in silence, shaping projects few could even imagine. A figure once hidden is now stepping into the light. The vault is opened, the path is revealed. At the center of it all, Barry Swope. Elusive propagations. From the shadows to the spotlight, the vision is undeniable. Hypo Puzzle King!
Big shout out to the sponsors. So you mentioned the Sunset Ultramare project. We actually got two Sunset Ultra Millions here in the chat tonight. We got Brandon from Nixon Reptiles, and we got Steven from Leviathan.
Yeah.
You mentioned that as one of the ones you were excited for this season. What else is really like got you excited for this season in terms of projects?
That's actually quite interesting. So I'm actually going to today, or basically I think it's going to be for you guys tomorrow. But this Friday we basically doing a video about top 5 projects, which I think is going to be have some huge influence on the market or on the ball python game in this 2026 year.
Okay.
So one of the genes which I think is taking, or a complex which is taking the industry by storm, is the granite type genes. So I mean, for everyone knows the Cosmos and voodoo and the Malice. The Malice, I think, is another. I'm probably butchering the name, but I think those are,
You got it, Malice.
yeah, Malice. Yeah. So I spoke to Antoine the other day. So I think those are great, great genes, which I think is going to take the industry by storm. Just because how these granite type, they're very similar. If you even look at Grim and all of these things, the genes are very, very similar. But I think how they interact in certain combos are completely different. So I think that's one of the projects which I think, or that complex is going to be quite broad going into this year. And then what's the other one? Oh, so I'm very excited about Exantic hypo stuff. I think Exantic hypo stuff is a really great project going forward. And I think long term, I think a lot of people are going to steer that direction just because, Desert Ghost was a real big, or is still a big gene, don't get me wrong. But I think it's lost a bit of the hype over the last, few years just because everyone also, went to that certain combination. So I think Exantic Hypo is going to put a lot of traction just because they're completely different to the Exantic DG projects. Very similar, but completely different and just adds a different color palette to it. So I think Exantic Hypos in the next few years is also going to produce some amazing animals, which we're going to be very excited about for the next few years.
Gotcha. Yeah, hypo. Pretty much anything excites me. Like I'm a big fan of hypo, and definitely a big fan of the granite stuff too. Funny that you mentioned Ash. I know a lot of people say Antoine. Always say Ash, but same person.
Yeah.
Malice, man, it's a nuts gene, man. I see why you call it the granite of granites. He got some really nice examples, and man, talk about somebody that's passionate about about what they're doing, man.
100%.
He is, man. Like you ask him a question about something, and then like he send you like all these pictures and just walk you through like the whole progression. All right, so this is this, this is this, this is this, this is this, and it's all just laid out, super organized. You talk to him on the phone about it, man. Super excited about it, yeah, man. So I definitely see that gene doing big things and going big places, especially with him steering the ship.
Yeah, man, I think so as well. Like you said, I think he's very passionate about the projects and the certain or more than one project that he's working with, which is great. I think even like you said, Stephen and Courtney of Leviathan, I mean, they've got some great content. I think they're doing really well in terms of also, furthering our market in general. It's the same as with Justin. Justin is a great leader for our industry just because, the stuff that he produces and how he portrays himself is amazing. So I think going forward, like you said, I think the passion will speak for these projects across the board. If the Ultramore Sunset, Granite type genes, whatever genes it is, I think if you're passionate about the projects, and I think that will also outplay in your genes and or in your combinations that you make.
Absolutely. Do you feel like is anything out there that's kind of slept on that's gonna kind of make a splash?
Slept on. That's a difficult, not difficult one, but I think. Sorry, I'm actually just checking here what some of the other stuff that I wrote, but I think still sugar and calico, or sugar and calico is a gene which is it's a simple co-dominant gene stack or co-dominant gene, but I think that gene is really underrated, and I think when used in the right combos, it can really make a huge influence in the combinations. So I think sugar and calico is definitely an underrated gene in my opinion.
Yeah, what's an example of like some genes that works well with, in your opinion, that really like pack a punch?
What, with sugar or what?
Yeah, or calico. You feel like they're the same? I do.
Yeah. To me, honestly, like I still believe they are the same. I think there is like the same thing as like Coroglo and Banana. I think there was definitely two different lines in the start or two different originators. But in my opinion, like they're exactly the same in terms of how they react. So I don't see a huge difference in them, eh?
Gotcha. So what's some of those genes you think they work really well with?
So of course, Orange Dream, Black Pastel,
Yeah.
Inchy, Yellow Belly, even some of the clown combinations. The only gene I don't really like too much in the sugar combinations is just leopard, just because I feel leopard kills a bit of the sugar calico interaction.
Okay.
But besides that, it's sugar is quite broad. I think if you go even to, I made some chocolate. I made a really nice female chocolate sugar yellow belly hypo double DG paint, and that snake is like orange, and there's no OD or anything like that in. And I mean, it's basically just a very simple free codon gene stack with the recessive. And I mean, the colorations of that animal is just insane. So I think with sugar, I think especially into the dark contrast animals, it can work really well as well. And then adding, like I said, Orange Dream and Mandarin and stuff like that. I'm very excited about the Mandarin project as well. Just because I want to try in the next few years, or I'm slowly but surely doing that. It's like not work out yellow belly and fire, but just get less of those complex animals in my collection and try and incorporate a lot of like vanilla, lace, and mandarin and gravel stuff.
Okay.
Stuff that's basically non-white supers, just
Yeah.
to produce a good base of animals of those, and almost do my pairings with no restrictions, because sometimes you need to be careful with fire to fire or whatever, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, you can definitely and I know with my odds sometimes like if I run like yellow belly on both sides, I mean it's a
Yeah.
winner for chances of ivory, just with one copy on both sides. But me, man, I'll probably hit like 50% of them be ivories.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, even so, I mean, I'm exactly the same. I made a pairing for over pastel leopard superfire head puzzle to a red stripe inchy spot nose yellow belly puzzle head DG, and I was quite sure the male didn't have fire, and when I cut the clutch, there were two super fires like damn, So sometimes you mislead yourself in terms of some of the combinations. The super fires are cool, but that does take away a bit of it does take away all of the patterning, so it's a bit hard to ID that certain combos now.
Okay, that's actually a good segue into something I wanted to talk about, which was shed testing. Do you have
Yeah.
access to shed testing in South Africa?
Yeah, so we've got Pro Herper. Pro Herper is
Oh,
a
okay, gotcha.
yeah, he's a European-based company, so he collaborates here with a local lab. So yeah, so last year was my first year of really a big tasting pool. I think we tested around 200 animals last year, and then it could have been, some of them were multiple tests, and so this year as well, I'm doing quite a lot of tasting, and also especially with like the lace stuff, just to make sure that your IDs are correct, and also to give the customers that reassurance. So I think shed testing is a great, how can you say, great thing for our industry. Although it did make everything very rapid, that's
Yeah,
the only thing, you know. But I think going forward, it's going to also actually be maybe, how can you say, much more of an improvement to the industry, because it might also cut out the oversupply of animals, in a sense, because now you can really streamline what you've got in the collection and just work with, what you want. You don't have to breed or prove out animals, and then you've got stuff that you didn't want, in a sense. So I think going forward, I'm going to do also quite a lot of testing throughout the collection.
yeah. I mean, like anything else, I think it's got like pros and cons. But I agree with you 1,000%. It's definitely speeding up things. But there's definitely a lot of pros too. I mean, some people might view things being sped up as a pro too, and like people hitting projects, but it gives you an
100%.
opportunity to shoot for stuff you might not have otherwise wanted to shoot for because of the unknowns. And going back to what you said with supply, you're not having to hold back all this stuff and like keep all these extra animals and stuff like that. And so that definitely helps. And I mean, before you growing stuff up for 3-4 years, pairing it, and then boom, it's not what you thought it was or what you were hoping it
Yeah.
was. And boom, now you gotta sell that one and kind of back to the drawing board, or just you
Yeah.
take space and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like it evens out, that's what I've seen this past season, it's like not yeah, so the 2020, so I classify my seasons 2024 like 2025. So like this year will be the 25-26 season. So the previous season what I did like a few like pairings specifically for shed testing, to like you say, yet again to speed up some projects. And I've actually come to the realization is that it actually still takes more or less the same time period as what you would have done if you started the project from scratch. Because I paired a clown double A DJ Exantic, I paired to a leopard DT clown female. And I mean, out of the 10 eggs, only 2 animals proved out to be het Exantic, so that's 20%. So if you look at how the odds are and how sometimes the shed tests come back as, it's more or less the same as what you would have done if you started a project in a sense from scratch as well. So I think it's going to even out in the next few years, and like you said, I think it's going to take the odd factor out of raising up animals, and it's not proving out to what it initially intended to be. And another really valid point that Justin made on the shed test documentary was that the animals do sell quicker if they're het and if they're not het, because the customers feel at ease, listen, they know what they're getting. So I think it's, in general, I think it's, like you said, I think it's got its pros and its cons, but I think long term, the pros might be might outweigh the cons, in my opinion.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I didn't realize you went to Tinley. How was that for you?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's for a reptile geek like myself, I think it's an amazing feeling. If I come back, when I came back to South Africa, I was like telling the guys, like it's like a massive, how can you say it's not a Walmart, but I just tried to explain to them the size of the expos. It was just amazing, man. It's like just great to be there and to see some of the animals that we can't keep here again in South Africa. To see them and also just to see the large genetic diversity, especially with the ball pythons. It was a crazy experience, and definitely one of the.
Or the March one?
I went to the October one.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So I must say that's really cool. Hopefully this year I can go and attend the Ham show. That's another show I'd like to go and see. So hopefully this year I'll go to the Ham show and I don't think I'll come to the US this year, maybe, but it is a bit of a far travel as well. So we'll see how it looks and how everything works out.
I see you got on your Bob's Ball shirt. You ever gonna make it to the Southeast Reptile Expo in Atlanta?
I would love to. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. So it's a bit of a harder one. Especially just because the travel times are so rough. And like you said as well. With that, like you guys know, with the animals, you can't leave so long durations. Even though I've got really great employees, I still prefer being hands-on with the animals, and if there's a problem that we can sort it out. So that's the biggest thing, it's just to time everything and work according to that.
I know you're on your phone, so you might not have saw Will's message, but we just pulled it up. So he's saying meet him in Japan in April. I know they went to Japan last year. They was there for like 2 weeks. They went to several different places.
Oh, yeah, Will is trying to influence me. Yeah, now it's like 21 hours to travel to Japan. So we'll see. We'll see if it's possible or not. But we'll almost rather come to South Africa and then we can go on a few hunting trips.
You getting a lot of good hunting there?
Yeah. So we used to in the past, but in the last few years we've not hunted as much. My brother loves it. It's the same. He's very passionate about it as well. But hunting is quite big here in South Africa.
Nice. So as I was scrolling down your page, like I saw a bunch of stuff. Obviously, like a whole bunch of cool snakes. I saw some sails and stuff like that. like some sales that you had going on, like a Black Friday sale, stuff like that. So talk about some of your sales strategies and kind of like how you've tweaked that over the years to make it more effective for your business.
Yeah, so it's actually quite interesting. So I don't get a lot of sales from Morph Market. I'm going to be honest. It's just because I think my outreach in terms of the morph market presence and being in South Africa is not so big in a sense because people tend to look into their markets, um, where they situated in. Um, but I must say, which really helps, I think, is the social media and just being actively present. Showing what's going on in the collection, being I would say transparent, but showing on what projects you're working on. And also just reaching out to people, in a sense. So in the last few years, I've changed a few of the strategies in terms of I've got now the two morph markets. So the one in South Africa and then the one in the USA, which is basically it's just a duplicate of each other, So it does cause some confusion sometimes, but I think now this is basically the second or actually the third year that we're going to do this. So I think over the next few years it should be a bit better. But it's just basically to try and advertise in more markets, because the biggest market still is the USA, So I think that gets the most traction. And another thing I think that really helped me is the YouTube. Even though I'm going to be honest, the YouTube isn't my favorite thing, just because I don't like watching my own videos or anything like that. But I still think it's a good thing because people get to learn your collection and also put a face behind the name in a sense. And this year I'm going to explore a few different routes, to see how that's going to work as well. Just do a bit more promotional work on, especially like releasing hatchlings and just to see how that works as well.
Gotcha. Do you have a Patreon?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so I started Patreon. Actually a year ago, and
okay. So it's new since the last time you've been on the show.
Yeah. So I started Patreon about a year ago, and so far so good. I think we're around at like 22 odd members, mostly being South Africans, and then a few international guys as well. And it's great, man. Because I think my initial thought with the Patreon was just to build a close community of like-minded people. Where we can share our information and our findings with each other and just try and improve each other's collections at the same time. So the Patreon is a great thing, and I really enjoy it as well to work with those certain guys as well.
How's it structured? Like, is it by tiers, or you just kind of got one tier, everybody pay the same price? How's it work?
Yeah, so I've got two tiers, basically like a $5 tier, which is more like general updates, and there's a few like perks in terms of like discount, and I can say we're doing some wolf identification videos on that tier as well.
Okay.
And then we've got the $50 tier, which is quite broad. We've got the WhatsApp group chat, and we do a lot of extra content for them. I'd say around almost 6 videos a month, of different videos for them, and I try and also to help them work out certain breeding projects, which I think is going to be beneficial for their collection, and also trying to see where we can improve their collection as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah, so all good, man.
So what else has got you excited moving forward in the future, ball python wise?
Yeah, so sometimes if I think about how far the industry has come and what we've been able to achieve as breeders in general, I think that the future is so exciting. I mean, if you look, like you just said, Justin as well, with I think it's armless angels with the hypo Pompeii. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy. It's just crazy. Everyone is producing such top quality animals. And I think going forward, there's going to be so many different projects which excites us, and it's like yet again with the paints. Paint is another project which I'm very excited about. And it's crazy, because back in 2014, I could have bought paint or Sentinel from Chunku of Dynasty Reptiles for
Okay.
$200. I mean, that was the pricing back in the day. And I mean, fast track to 2023, I bought my first paint female for $2,000. So it's very interesting to see how the market changes and how everything, how can you say, pans out. So going forward, I think I'm really like excited for working also with the right co-dominant genes. Like I said to you, with like Mandarin, Lace, Gravel, these type of genes where there's no genetic limitations. That's where I'm trying to get out in my collection, to try and almost pair any snake to any snake, to try and get the best results in a broader spectrum.
Do you work with like a lot of the ALS stuff, like acts like super, like let's say like chocolate spot nose or cypress spot nose or blackhead chocolate, stuff like that? Yellow belly,
Yes,
obviously.
yeah, I've got a few. I've got a few in the collection. Not as many anymore, because every year, I try to move out certain breeder animals. But I love working with allele combinations. Like you said, blackhead spot nose, blackhead chocolate, just because it makes the IDing process so much easier.
Yeah.
Yet again, like we talked about shed testing, it just removes the, how can you say, the
Guesswork.
doubt,
Yeah.
yeah, the guesswork, so I mean, for instance, I've got a male blackhead phantom Batman, which I called Bane. And I mean, he's basically just yet again coming back to keeping animals just for the sake of keeping. He's just a pet now, but I mean, he's a great animal because he's blackhead and spot nose. So everything he breeds to, it's going to be either blackhead or spot nose. And it's quite interesting because it always seems like the blackhead of his gene pool is much stronger, because most of the babies comes out as blackhead.
Oh,
Very
really?
few as spot nose. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like working like the allelic stuff. And then you have to think too, like with some of them, like spot nose, you got to be careful with like how you breed those, and you don't want spot nose on both sides, because now you got to deal with power balls and kind of all the stuff that go along with those, like shaking and all that good stuff, or all
Yeah.
that bad stuff, I should say. So, and then the combos that they make look really nice too.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, I'm going to be honest with you, like you said, like with super spot nose and super black pastel and super cinnamon, all of these genes that we know has got some sort of genetic problems, I try and avoid. Even though if it's a really insane pairing that I want to make, I'll rather take the longer route or a different alternative to try and avoid it. Because a lot of people want to do like panda pies and all of these things, which, don't get me wrong, they're beautiful animals. But I always tell them, listen, rather spare yourself the disappointment than trying to do it, because you're taking a gamble. You don't know if that animal is going to be perfectly healthy, or even it can be perfectly healthy and no problems, or it can have severe complications, which is in my opinion not worth the risk.
Yeah, I agree. So I know before we get on, we said we was gonna limit it to about an hour. So we pulling up on that right now. But before we do get out of here, is there anything else you want people to be on the lookout for? I know you said you got a video dropping in a few hours as far as like trends and projections, but anything else you want people to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so like I said, next 20, well, in less than 24 hours, we're dropping the next YouTube video. I think so. It's 5 o'clock South African time. I'm not sure what is that in the different spectrums or different time zones in the US. And I think this year is going to be exciting year for the ball python industry in general. I think there's a lot of people with certain doubts in the industry as well. I always say to guys in the industry, remember, this is a long-term game, so just be patient, stick it out, be passionate about the animals. If you have your doubts in certain days, I mean, not every day is a great day. Even myself, sometimes you get discouraged about certain things. I always say, go back, go work with your snakes and just enjoy the snakes. So basically what I want to get into is don't give up. If you're really certain and you you're passionate about the animals, the right timing will come, and you'll see the fruits of your labor. So don't get impatient and don't throw in the towel too quick.
Yeah, big facts. I was talking with Jeremy from Bars Exotic Reptiles this past weekend, and we was talking about the highs and lows and the goods and the bads, and you're gonna have both. That's just part of the game. But the bad stuff make the good stuff just that much better and make you appreciate
100%.
it that much more. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be ups and downs, man. But just stick it through, stick with it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and then just the last thing for especially the USA customers. So we export every few months. So normally every from March, every third month or second month. So basically to the US, basically we cover all export fees. Most of the customers can just pay small domestic shipping, or in some cases we cover that as well. So we try and streamline the process. So if there's anything that anyone is ever interested in the USA, the process is quite simple. We just put it up to our next export date, and domestic shipping will be arranged as soon as the animals are based in the UK, in the USA.
Yeah, I know I can personally vouch for that and co-sign it. When I got that snake from you, it was a super easy process. Super easy.
Yeah, the female you got from me was a chocolate Mojave spot nose.
Yeah.
Hyper ADG. Okay.
Yeah. And so
Okay, cool.
she's at like 10 or 12 millimeter follicles right now.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. She's been locking up with puzzle hit hypo male.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Nice. So it's going to be a nice clutch there as well. And like you said, yet again, with the Lily combination, it's going to take all of the guesswork out of the equation.
Exactly. And hopefully I can do well on the hypo odds and the DGIs, especially.
Yeah, that will be great if you can get like a what would it be? Hypo double ADG puzzle, something like that. That would be great.
I'll get a couple of those. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Couple females to throw in the rack.
Yeah, just grow them up, eh?
Yeah, for sure, man. But man, again, man, thanks for coming on tonight, man. It's been amazing.
Thanks, Mark.
Catching up with you. Definitely we definitely can't let 2 years go by before we get you on the show again.
No, 100%. Let's run it back again sometime, maybe at the end of this year, and we can do a recap of what I've said in this podcast. Hopefully it plays out good.
Yeah,
and
sure.
we can do a recap, a bit of the how the market was this last year, and just catch up again.
Yeah, you can update us on what came out of those 69 clutches. You got to right now.
Some exciting stuff, man.
Nice, man. So that's gonna do it for tonight, man. I appreciate everybody sliding through tonight, kicking it with us in the live chat. Big shout out to y'all. Big shout out to Replay Gang. Shout out to the audio only gang. Make sure you're listening back, man. You leave us a comment, let us know you were here. But that's it for tonight's episode for Clutch Conversations. I'm Mike. This is the homie DJ. The lovely lady behind the scenes is Takara. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.